Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're unpacking something absolutely fascinating, the deep psychology of conversational overthinkers. If you've ever spent way too much time dwelling on what was said, how it was said, or, what was left unsaid, stick with me. We're breaking down the exact psychological framework behind why your brain does this.
Have you ever walked away from a totally simple, everyday chat and just kept thinking about it for hours? Your mind just starts racing. Did I talk too much? Why did they make that face? Was that joke totally dumb? Did I sound awkward? It's just this relentless loop of questions that absolutely will not shut off, no matter how hard you try to stop it.
Replaying words, analyzing tone, wondering what they really meant. I mean, we've all been there, right? Okay, let's dive into this, because psychology reveals this habit is not random at all. While it feels like your brain is just spinning completely out of control, these repetitive thought patterns are actually a highly specific behavioral response.
Overthinking isn't just an annoying flaw or some generic symptom of anxiety. Actually, it is the mind's mechanism for handling social uncertainty and providing emotional protection. Think of it like an overzealous bodyguard. Your brain is desperately trying to protect you from social rejection, and its method is to overanalyze literally every single piece of data from an interaction. It is exhausting for sure, but its core intention is survival.
Section 1. The search for control. Let's peel back the first layer of the onion and look at why our brains actually do this.
During and after a chat, your brain acts kind of like a radar, constantly scanning for mistakes. Why? Well, because if you can spot the misstep, you can prepare for the fallout. When a conversation ends, obviously you can't go back and change it. But by replaying it on a loop in your head, your brain gets to map it out. It's creating this false sense of control over an interaction that is already in the past.
Now, what's really interesting about this is how researchers put it perfectly. Their mind hates unfinished answers. Overthinkers absolutely despise ambiguity. If someone ends a text message with just a period or says we need to talk later, you know that is an unfinished answer. The lack of closure forces your mind into absolute overdrive, generating dozens of possible doomsday scenarios just to fill in the blank. Your brain is desperately trying to finish the puzzle so it can finally rest.
Section 2. When silence feels suspicious. We're peeling back the next layer to see what happens during the actual conversation.
And this brilliantly illustrates the massive divide in how we interpret pauses. A standard conversationalist views silence as a natural, totally harmless pause, a chance to breathe and sip your coffee. But to an overthinker, silence is a glaring, suspicious sign that something is terribly wrong. Their brain immediately rushes to fill that empty space with fear, assuming the other person is judging them or just bored to tears.
This reaction is really rooted in an intense fear of being misunderstood. If you pause, the overthinker instantly worries they didn't explain themselves perfectly. And because that silence feels suspicious, they jump straight to assuming the absolute worst. It's actually kind of a twisted defense mechanism. Think about it. If you expect a terrible outcome, you're already emotionally braced for impact when it happens.
Section 3. The mental spiral. Moving into the final, deepest layer of how a brief chat turns into deep internalization.
Let's move to this breakdown and see how this builds. Step 1, the conversation ends. You walk away, and for most people, hey, it's over. But for the overthinker, we hit step 2. The mind fixates on unfinished answers, highlighting and magnifying any ambiguity, which inevitably triggers step 3, deep internalization. The interaction literally leaves short-term memory and embeds itself directly into the emotional centers of the brain.
Even the smallest interactions can stay in the mind much longer than expected. Look, if you experience this, you are not alone, and you are definitely not broken. Psychology proves that these social moments are internalized so deeply by overthinkers that they act as emotional anchors. They can linger for hours or even days. It is a profound psychological weight based entirely on how your specific brain processes human behavior and social cues. So the crucial point to take away from our explainer today is this. Is your overthinking a burden, or just your brain working overtime to protect you? Once you realize that replaying words and fearing silence are really just misguided attempts by your brain to keep you socially safe, you can start to observe the habit rather than being completely consumed by it. I want to leave you with that thought. Thank you so much for joining me. Keep learning, keep questioning, and I'll see you next time.